If I were Justin Baldoni and read that quote after all the things that have happened, I don't know how he kept his sanity and he's still sane. Hi, and welcome to Blossom Talk. I'm Kjersti Flaa, and here on my channel I talk about my good and bad experiences with Hollywood and working as an entertainment reporter. Okay, so there's so much going on right now. As usual, I've been reading all morning. Emails from you guys, you're amazing. Thank you so much for sending me so many tips. And all the stuff in the news and new legal documents that's been filed. There's so much going on that I don't even know how to put everything in one episode. So a few days ago, I was talking a lot about this Hollywood Reporter cover that Blake Lively's team reacted to and said it was sexist. It was mocking her allegations against Baldoni. Anyways, the article was about basically how his faith might have impacted the way other people would feel on the set of It Ends With Us. I said back then that Blake Lively should probably not make the Hollywood Reporter an enemy, and today's pretty clear. Yes, she has. The article that they posted today is insane. I did not understand how this takeover or coup, as they're actually referring to it in the Hollywood Reporter, really happened step by step. I mean, I've been reading the lawsuits, but they're long documents and sometimes you miss, the connection here and there, and there's just too much going on. There are little text messages and emails and it's hard to read them. But the way the Hollywood Reporter and the journalist here, her name is Pamela McClintock, puts this in a very simple, understandable way today, I was just like, wow. I mean, I do not understand how Justin Baldoni could have kept his calm through all of this. I thought my story with the Golden Globes and how they treated me and Magnus, my boyfriend, during that time when we sued them, and everything that happened before and up to that point was bad. But this is like on a complete different level. I'm like, I have to say, I did not know how bad this was. Before I get more into the article and what it actually says, I wanted to share a TikTok video that someone sent me that Ryan Reynolds posted back in the day when he was promoting Blake Lively's movie. I mean, it's her movie, let's face it. It's not Justin Baldoni's movie. And he posted this video on TikTok.
We all have an idea of what love can be. But 15 seconds, that's all it takes.
So it's not the video itself that's so interesting, but it's the caption that Ryan Reynolds put on the video saying, "Excited for this one, except Blake making love to other people part." I mean, there's been a lot of stuff going on out there, a lot of conspiracies about how Blake Lively had a crush on Justin Baldoni, she was in love with him, and how Ryan Reynolds was really jealous. And of course, adding to that was that video we saw when Ryan Reynolds stopped in and hijacked a junket interview with Brendan Sklenar, who plays Blake Lively's other love interest in the movie.
It's not every day the husband gets to interview his wife's love interest in a film. It's kind of crazy.
I don't remember seeing this on the schedule.
Dive in, shall we?
Jokingly being the jealous husband. He also brought one of his dragons, Hugh Jackman, to do the same thing.
It's not every day a guy gets to interview the love interest of his best friend's wife, and the guy trying to replace Ryan.
So this whole theory about him being the jealous husband, I don't know if I really buy it, but when I saw this TikTok video, I was like, okay, there's little things that keeps adding to this. And the fact that he said it this way, it wasn't like jokingly. He was just like, I don't like the fact that she's making love to other people. It's interesting when you think about Ryan Reynolds' old love scenes in movies. One of them was with Sandra Bullock in The Proposal. And there's an interview on YouTube with Sandra Bullock when she talks about that one scene when they clash together with no clothes on. And she talks about it. I mean, the way she talks about how that scene went down, I'm like, if there wasn't any HR complaints involved in that, I mean, just listen to this.
And, Ryan and I have these flesh-colored things stuck to our privates. My hair's strategically over the nip. We collide together and we're on the floor. Why are you wet? Why are you, whatever. And why are you naked? And we're lying there and they have to say cut. but we couldn't really move. So he was on his back with his knees up, and I was sort of on the floor, just sort of like resting on his knees like this, just waiting. And then I hear Ann Fletcher from the darkness go, Ryan, we can see your ball sack. And I'm like, oh God, because you want to look down, like, don't look down, don't look down. And you're like, should I help? Is there something I know?
So yeah, I just think that puts things in perspective even more. These are things that happens on movie sets, but you can't just keep suing people when things doesn't go exactly as planned. Anyways, I want to get back to that Hollywood Reporter article that I spoke about in the beginning. But before we get into that, I wanted to thank the sponsor of this video, OneSkin. A lot of you guys have asked me about my skin routines and if I have any secrets to share with you guys. So yes, I do have a secret right now because I've just been testing out OneSkin, and I have to say, every time someone contacts me and asks me if I want to test some products, I'm always a little reluctant. And the first thing I do is go online and check all the reviews for the products. And when I saw what OneSkin was doing for a lot of women, I was like, okay, this sounds very promising. I have to say, I started seeing results really fast. I started seeing a little bit of peeling on my chin, which I think is a great sign that stuff is happening. And then younger looking, fresher looking skin started appearing. I also love the design. It looks super cool. This is the one for the face, and this is the eye cream. OneSkin is founded by only female scientists who developed a whole new approach to skincare. And the way they did this is by starting on a cellular level. The proprietary OS1 peptide is the first peptide scientifically proven to reverse skin aging by switching off dysfunctional senescent cells that causes line, wrinkles, and creepy skin. Get 15% off with code Kjersti at oneskin.co. That's my name, Kjersti. That's 15% off with code Kjersti. After you purchase, they will ask you where you heard about them. So please support my channel by telling them that I sent you. Invest in the longevity and health of your skin with OneSkin. Your future self will thank you. All right, so let's get back into the Hollywood Reporter article. Today, the headline was how Sony got trapped in the middle of the Lively versus Baldoni battle. As I said, I did not think it was a great idea for Blake Lively's team or Blake Lively to go after to go after the Hollywood Reporter when they published that article and the cover, and she called them out saying they were sexist and basically, shaded the Hollywood Reporter for their reporting and for that image specifically. Today, the article does not put Blake Lively in a good light. Let's put it that way. The Hollywood Reporter uses its own words here, actually calling her strategy for taking over the movie from Baldoni a coup. The angle of this story is how Sony basically was the mediator throughout this whole crisis, and how Blake Lively manipulated and used Sony to get Wayfarer to do what she wanted. And if they didn't, she would always threaten them and say she refused to market the movie, and so did her cast as well. So the story goes back to when It Ends With Us premiered, and the then Sony CEO, he has retired since apparently, his name is Tony Vinciquerra. So he gave a quote, I think it was to the Hollywood Reporter or to Variety back then, because people had started thinking already back then that something's off here. And he said that Blake's passion and commitment to advancing the conversation around domestic violence, we did not see that anywhere, is commendable. We love working with Blake and we want to do 12 more movies with her, he said back then. He likewise praised Colleen Hoover and the other women involved in the film. He did not mention Justin Baldoni at all. So at that point, Sony was definitely supporting Blake, which they ended up doing throughout this whole process when you read through this article. So during this time, apparently, Blake Lively had reached out to Sony to file a complaint about the set and what was going on and how she felt uncomfortable. And then Sony replied saying, you can't file a complaint with us, you have to file a complaint with Wayfarer Studios. And then Lively said, I can't do that because, they're the ones that I'm complaining about, and I'm afraid they're not going to do anything about the situation unless I file a complaint with you. Sony declined. At this point, as I said before, I was thinking, why didn't she complain to SAG? which is what SAG is for. Many other reasons, but this is one of the things that you can use your union for. It doesn't seem like that ever crossed her mind, and I find that very troubling. And I think the reason why she just wanted to file this complaint is to have the receipts there, so she could use this against him later, which is what she did next. Because instead of filing this complaint, she created 17 points that Wayfarer had to sign off on. Otherwise, she wouldn't return to set for continue filming after the strike. Sony then had to put pressure on Wayfarer to sign off on these 17 points. And when they had a meeting about it, these 17 points turned into 30 points. So everyone was caught off guard with these 30 points, and we've seen these 30 points in her lawsuit. These were never like filed anywhere, but Wayfarer was forced to sign off on it. Then Blake's next demand was that she wanted to have 2 days in the editing room with Justin Baldoni so she could actually get her version of the movie heard. Also, she didn't go directly to Justin Baldoni or Wayfarer about this. She went to Sony, so Sony put pressure on Justin Baldoni for doing that. And if they didn't do it, she said that she would not market the movie or whatever, all these other threats that she kept saying over and over again. So Justin Baldoni agreed to that. She only showed up for 1 day, apparently, in the editing room. And that day, she had 7 pages with her of script changes that she wanted to change. She didn't show up the next day. But then she asked Sony again to have her own editor with her. She didn't want Justin Baldoni in the room, and she wanted to make her version of the film. She then hired Shane Reed, who was the editor that Ryan Reynolds used for Deadpool versus Wolverine. And then at this point, Baldoni and Lively kind of split up, and they worked on separate versions of the film. And Blake Lively's version was then showed to Sony. So then this article goes through the different months and what happened, like time-wise, throughout this. And then it says, by June, the coup was complete. Sony called Wayfarer to say that neither Lively nor any of the cast would promote the film unless Lively's cut was used. So what could Baldoni do at this point? If he didn't go for her cut of the movie, he would lose the film. So at this point, Baldoni had no choice. He had to give her the movie. At this point also, his film buy credit was taken off the poster. And as we know, the poster only had Blake Lively's name on top. The poster ended up like this, from this, which was Baldoni's version of the poster. But Blake Lively only wanted her name on the poster. Today, actually, someone sent me a message saying that on YouTube, if you want to rent the movie, Baldoni's name is actually added to the poster. So now it looks like this. I don't know what happened here, but at least that's a good thing that his name is back on there. But I can't believe she was able to remove his name from the poster as well. Another thing that happened during the summer was that Sony also asked Wayfarer to send a letter to PGA, which is the Producers Guild of America, so that Blake would get producer credit on the film with their stamp or mark on it. So she asked Wayfarer, she kept like pushing them to do things for her, but not directly, always through Sony. So Sony was put in this horrible position of being in the middle of all of this. And right now, if this goes to court, Sony can risk getting subpoenaed. They could be having to be on the stand and also explain why they did all these things for Blake Lively and never supported Justin Baldoni. Of course, Sony didn't comment on anything for this article, but we have to remember that Sony were also put in a terrible position. They put a lot of money into this film, and they were risking to lose the film if they didn't support Blake Lively. I bet you some of these people working for Sony did not feel good about the decisions they had to make. Yeah, I think everyone should read that article in its whole because it's so telling. At the end here, it says that she didn't only remove film buy, she removed his name from all the marketing materials in this film. And then I saw this quote she did, I think it was in Variety, just after the movie was released. And when I read this quote, I just wanted to like throw up. I just get so angry at what she has actually done, because I didn't understand the complete scope of it before I read this article today. I mean, like I said, you read bits and pieces here and there, but when you see it put together like this and how it was so well planned, it's, oh, yeah. Anyways, this is what she said to Variety. She said about the movie, it took my love, it took my passion, it took my time, it took my fortitude and dedication, and it took my sleep. Because of that, I've never had so much authorship in my life. I walk into this premiere with such pride of what we did. I can walk away for the first time saying, I put everything I have into this, and I'm proud of it. It's one of the greatest gifts of my life, and definitely my career. If I were Justin Baldoni and read that quote after all the things that have happened, I don't know how he kept his sanity and he's still sane, because as I said, I have no words for what she did. Anyways, I wanted to make sure that all of you guys, if you're really interested in this case, there is a website where you can look at all the filed new documents, all the legal new documents. It's called courtlistener.com. And when you scroll down, like, look at this. Every single thing that has happened in this case since she filed that lawsuit, I mean, every single day there's something. And you have to remember that there are lawyers behind all of this. And you can just imagine the fees for the lawyers when you look through all the work they're doing. Every letter costs thousands of dollars. Anyways, today there were 2 new filings from Baldoni's team. One was for the court to reject Blake Lively's protective order, and the other one was to actually get a protective order for Wayfarer Studios and Justin Baldoni. They don't want all the materials to get public and all the things that they find in the subpoenas to get public, and they, especially for the non-public figures that are involved in this case, and they also want all the evidence to be returned and destroyed by the end when this case is over. So we'll see what happens with that. So as I said, if you're interested in legal papers, there's a lot to go through on that website. Anyways, that's it for me for today, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And again, thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. If you haven't done that yet, please do, and hit the notification button so you don't miss an episode of Flawsome Talk. And yes, please keep sending me tips and comments. It's hard for me to read all the comments because there's a lot, which is amazing. But I really feel like my comment section here, or our comment section here, is really respectful and nice. And I just like really appreciate that people, even though if you disagree with me or other people, we keep it respectful. And I really like that. And thank you for that. So yeah, I guess I'll see you in my next episode. Bye.